Kia ora koutou, nau mai whakarongo mai to my next guest. Obviously it is Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori this week and Mahuru Māori. So we are celebrating, I guess, rangatira in this space, and that's why we have the lovely Hana Mereraiha. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Tēnā koe. Yeah, thank you for coming in. We really appreciate it. I was just saying that we've been following a lot of your mahi for a long time. We speak about you, I feel, with a couple of other guests that we've had come in, and now we finally get you in the flesh, which is fantastic. Stoked.
Te maringa nei.
Kia ora. So yeah, I guess tuatahi, we'll start with ko wai koe no hea koe.
Ko Hana Mereraiha tēnei, I tipu ake au I kirikiriroa.
Kia ora.
Yeah. The Tron.
The Spot Hammers, somebody on there next week.
I te tau taku māma no Ngāti Mahuta, no Ngāti Maniapoto anō hoki. Ko ana toronga ki roto o te arawa. Me te waipau namu ngai tahu, kāti māmo e Waitaha. So yeah, mum's from Waikato, Bay of Plenty, and from the south. Yeah, she spends pretty much the whole, on my dad's side, I'm from top of the South Island, and then on my mother's side, I'm from the deep south.
Yeah.
I'm like past, Rakiura, past Stewart Island. Yeah, to a place called, we whakapapa back to Big South Cape. So I come from a heritage of mutton birding. A mutton birding whānau, yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, on my papa's side, from Taranaki, Te Upoko o Te Ika, so Wellington and Te Tauihu o Te Waka.
Yeah.
And yeah, whakapapa to all my connections through Taranaki. But yeah, kei konei au e nohona, kei tāmaki makaurau. It's been a hell of a journey.
Yeah.
Have had the privilege of working here and closely with lots of artists in lots of different spaces, actually.
Yeah.
I te ao auaha, which has been really cool, the creative world.
Big time.
Ko te Reo Māori, te tāhuhu, o taku ao. So, of course, te Reo Māori being the pinnacle or central to all the kaupapa that I've been able to, be a part of.
Yeah. Hana is pretty much like across the board involved in so much different te ao Māori, but translating predominantly in creative kaupapa for the most part. And I feel like a lot of people talk about how you're like the go-to, even if they're having pātai about their own waiata that they're writing, they're like, who do I kind of call or ask to make sure this is tika or it's like best, I guess, expressed. And I've been told so many times that you're very good at expressing that whakaaro from other people in Te Reo Māori, which is an incredible gift to have. So I guess we'll start at the beginning. Can you sort of talk about your hairanga with Te Reo Māori growing up in Te Ao Māori or how that all kind of came to be?
Yeah, well, he raukurau no te kohanga reo. So, you know, it was our pakeke and our kaumātua, our ruruhi, who really paved the way in terms of creating space where our generation would be afforded our language as a language of the home and a medium of instruction within school settings. So I was really fortunate to be part of that movement. So kohanga reo is early childhood immersive education. And then of course kura kaupapa, which is the next thing, primary immersion. And then I transitioned over to kura auraki into mainstream. And that was just a decision that was made so that, because ko te reo I pakari, I tipu mai ai au, ko te reo Māori, and so it was really important being able to transition into English medium as well, and to whakapakari ngā reo erua kia raka te maui, kia raka hoki ko te katau. So for both languages to go hand in hand, side by side. And so that strategy really worked in terms of my educational upbringing. And so I'm an advocate for Māori immersion and bilingual outcomes, actually. For our tamariki mokopuna. I've always been an advocate for that because I am a product of that. Yeah.
And embodying it, I feel, as an adult now, you know, like being able to be that joiner between the two worlds and sort of creating that communication, I guess, that sometimes obviously gets lost. But it's really, I think that goes into my next part of like where we're at now. We talk about the Kohanga Reo generation, the kura kaupapa, kids that are coming up now that are a little bit older, and they're now immersed into like our politics, they're into our, like, you know, mainstream employments and educations and that kind of thing, and they're being able to carry that Reo Māori across to so many different kaupapa. Do you feel like now there's like a big difference or a bit of a jump between the understanding and the use of te Reo Māori in day to day?
Yes, well, the thing about our tamariki today, the ones who are being raised as Māori speakers, is the ability to think broadly, and it's what we call meta-linguistic awareness, which is an awareness of both languages actually, both English and te reo Māori, as our foundational languages. Māori, of course, being the main driver of the thinking, and so that's the thing, is our tamariki are able to think in both worlds and are able to transition smoothly between both of those worlds. And that's why it's really important that we advocate for the ones who aren't afforded their reo, because they are missing out. And it is, I think, a breach of their indigenous linguistic rights as tamariki, mokopuna, of this whenua. And actually, I think, especially for our tamariki Māori, but also for other tamariki who are raised in this whenua, I think it's there's a responsibility there as tangata tiriti, actually, under the provisos of our tiriti o Waitangi, which actually is the mandate or the validation for them actually being here.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, it's a responsibility not only to uphold the treaty, but also as tangata whenua, I think we should be opening those domains where the language is a language that's being used on a daily basis. And so, yes, going back to your pātai about the understanding of language and the application of language, well, it comes from the seed that is ka whakatōkia, ki roto ki te whatu manawa, and that's something that is nurtured over time. And with that comes all of the understanding, the depth and the breadth of the knowledge, the tikanga that come with language, that we as I guess advocates of the language and speakers, users of the language, are able to enact. I think there's a big gap when the bridge, the gap between reo and tikanga, if they're separated, because then they shouldn't really be seen as two separate entities, they're one and the same, or they work simultaneously, they work in tandem with each other, so they're inextricably linked. You know, the tikanga so tikanga is the enaction of our practices, our cultural practices. The reo is other words that underpin those practices and all of the thinking that are you know, involved with all our practices. So I'm really proud of the generation coming through, the generation of Māori speakers, because they have that critical awareness about them, which gives them that political edge. They're very sensitised at a very early age to, you know, some of these critical issues that we're facing on our own turf here in Aotearoa, and then of course what's happening on the wider, broader spectrum of things. And as we know, there's a lot of shit that's happening out there in the world. So it's important that our tamariki have their tongue, that they carve their tongue, so that they can carve their minds as well, and actually carve a future for the next wave that will come through. I think that the ultimate goal is that with every successive wave, every successive generation, we need to be leaving our language and our customs in a healthier state than the state in which we inherited them. That's a kōrero that has been, you know, constantly reiterated by my pakeke and my teachers, is to actually mahi a te mahi, you know. So it's been awesome working with, working in these different circles in the film circles with the Matiwa Media team, the Disney Reo Māori team, also working with Māori Land. They did the Shrek stuff, and that's really awesome. I love all of those sorts of collaborations, because what that does is that it puts our language on the world map. It puts our thinking, our Māori thinking, which is in our language, on the world map.
Yeah.
And it also gives our tamariki. It gives them the opportunity to see themselves, to hear themselves reflected in these spaces that were otherwise restricted to certain dominant reo of the world. So I want to see more Indigenous languages put on the big screen. I want to see not only collaborations with big, powerhouses like Disney and DreamWorks, but also for us to have our own sort of sovereignty. Mana motuhake, kia mana motuhake tia o tātou pūrākau. So, and so that we can sovereigntize. I don't even know if sovereigntize is a word.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we make up Te Reo Māori words, so surely we can make up Te Reo
surely
Pākehā.
we can make up some Pākehā words.
Yep.
This was actually inspired, this kōrero was inspired by our Queenie, actually, her maiden speech at the coronation. Was a really beautiful speech, and she talked about, mana motuhake tia tō reo, tō pāhara keke, tō taiao, tō hauora. Those were the main things that she talked about. And so I think about that in the space that I've been working in as well. So whilst it's important to collaborate, it's also important for us to take our own, to be autonomous in the way we tell our stories, the way we write our songs,
Mm-hmm.
I think Waiata Anthems, which is actually how I linked up with everybody, with Madge and Geordie. I know that you've met Jordan and
Yeah.
the crew. Yeah,
The
my
whole
sissies.
crew. There's so many amazing people that you've touched with Waiata Anthems and Kokori and all these stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
what a phenomenal crew.
They're awesome. And so the linkage there was through Waiata Anthems,
Yeah.
which originally was about translating songs that had already been written and released in English,
Yeah.
and had it actually, that actually sort of created some sort of, I don't know, they'd made it in the mainstream,
Yeah.
Let's face it, they were on the charts.
Mm.
So that was all good, but I think that was sort of a segue to what we're actually doing now, which is
Yeah.
actually composing songs as originals in te reo, so that the language isn't, so that it's not superimposed on Pākehā thinking,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yes. Influenced by
yeah. Because that's something that we've had to, that's a whole other kōrero, but
That
that's
is,
something
yeah.
that we've had to grapple with in terms of the space of translation. Do we translate word for word? Do we translate sense for sense?
that. Yes.
Sense for sense made more sense to me,
100%.
the wairua of the kōrero.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a journey. Waiata Anthems, which led to the stuff with Disney, Reo Māori, DreamWorks, and then now sort of creating our own spaces where we can all get together. And that was the writing camp that we had this year, earlier on this year,
Yeah.
in April. Kōkōuri, which brought together, I think it was around 15 songwriters.
Yes.
All Māori, and one from Te Moana Nuiakiwa,
Yeah.
from Tahiti. And so that was lovely, having our whanaunga of Te Moana Nuiakiwa there as well, because and that's something that I actually want to continue in these spaces, is having an international artist, someone from our indigenous. In our Indigenous communities, whether it be through the Americas, Canada, Te Moana Nuiakiwa, of course, have to be in those spaces as well. But yeah, just so that we can get that whanaungatanga happening,
Yeah.
and actually really aki and poipoi each other in this space. Because with te kōkōuri, I guess what made that kaupapa really unique is the fact that we were all writing for a common cause,
Mm.
and it was all about alignment to the maramataka. So there's been a lot of mahi from in these recent years by Professor Rangima Tāmua and his cohort of amazing people who have been really trailblazing in the space of not only here, but in Te Moananui-a-Kiwa. And I hear that they've just come back from Antarctica as well.
Yeah, that guy is everywhere and doing the most. But so cool, and so much educational content that comes from that is obviously going to be so crazy beneficial to the populations that are affected or are interested.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So we've taken a leaf out of his book, and so we wanted to align our kaupapa, our writing camp, to the maramataka in every sort of facet, from the writing of the songs right through to the, you know, te whakaputa I ngā waiata, right through to post-production. We wanted to align and make sure that we were understanding the taiao in which, you know, this taonga was being created. And also it was a way for us to educate ourselves in terms of the awareness of the maramataka and how it applies in our daily lives, you know, how it becomes lived and real in whichever context we're actually working in. So that was a huge thing. And then of course the theme, kōkōuri, and there's actually a nod in that name, that ingoa, to Dame Hinewehi, who she was the mastermind really behind Waiata Anthems. And of course in her mahi at APRA, she created lots of spaces, songwriting spaces for, for Māori to get together and create. And one of those kaupapa was called Kōkōtea. And this is where I met Madge.
Oh,
was at Kōkōtea. So we went. It was beautiful. We had like a retreat, and I'd met Geordie before then, but we went over to Waiheke for a. It was like a girls' getaway weekend. Yeah. It was so cool. Yeah, it was really beautiful. And we were just writing songs. There were no, we didn't take any equipment. We just took guitars and pen and paper. Man. And dictionaries. It was super peeled back and super chill, and it was really lovely because we were able to actually focus in on, the kupu, focus in, really listen to the manu, and yeah, it was stunning. So kōkōuri is kōkōtea is the female tui, and then kōkōuri is the male counterpart. But of course, they go they're one and the same.
Yeah,
they go hand in hand. And so yeah, kōkōuri is a nod to all of that mahi that had been previously done, and it was also our little our way of I guess staking our own mana motuhake in that space and going, well, this is how we want to do things. And it was a lot of the time it was very experimental, and we were trying new things, and it was a lot of trial and error, but it really worked. And I think the reason why it worked is because we came in, ngākau tapatahi, like-minded and all on the same sort of waka. And so that when you have 15 people, or however many of us there were, all in that kind of same frame of mind, and all, on the same waka, heading in the same direction, you can actually achieve a lot through that synchronicity and connection of whakaaro, of kaupapa.
Intentional.
Yeah, it was intentional and purposeful, so it worked. But yeah, me mihi ka tika ki te hunga I whai wāhi. I just want to mihi to all my sisters and brothers who came together. It was magic. There was 15 songs in the end. Yeah, 15 songs in 3 days.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. And everything, when you kind of go back to your whakaaro earlier about, it's more than just the reo, like you said, they're intertwined with the tikanga, and then therefore there's just a wider... I think Jordan kind of says it opens up your awareness of the world. When you learn your reo, it doesn't just come with a language. It comes with so much more mātauranga around te ao Māori and what it has to offer. And so I feel like this is really this kōkōuri kaupapa has you applying that in every facet, from the the kind of artwork done on the stuffing, taiao kind of inspired from the release dates being around the maramataka, from the waiatas themselves being around certain taiao or certain kaupapa that kind of linked in with what you guys are talking about. Like, there's just so many little elements that make this whole project just so much more intentional. And like you're saying, like all of those intentions just breed so much more creativity. Do you think like that's just sort of like maybe our next step in like taking our reo? Because like obviously you can, like you said, Waiata Anthems can translate a song, but then it's more about like where is our intention coming direct from, like that, I guess, whakamaoritia, like where you're actually making it into like a whole te ao Māori kind of like complete project in a sense.
So where to from here? Well, this is what we want for our, especially for our tamariki, and this is where you know, going back to what our queen said about mana motuhaketia, tō reo mana motuhaketia, I would say a tātou pūrākau mana motuhaketia a tātou waiata, I roto I te ao tito waiata o nāianei. So I think that we need to really, kind of just create spaces for ourselves where our rangatahi can thrive. And it can be like what I'm envisioning is going back onto our marae, taking our tapu with us, you know, and actually having our, because I mean kapahaka is a vehicle, is a huge vessel for not only drawing in our people back to our papakainga, but drawing our people, you know, back to their reo, back to their tikanga. And we've got so much untapped potential and untapped talent within all of those circles, you know. Just the kapahaka world alone blows my mind. The singers, the songwriters, the musos. Yeah. Like, you just have to go to Matatini and just be absolutely blown away by the sheer talent on that stage. If I don't say so myself, you know. But, but I, as a spectator, I just love seeing the display of excellence of our people on that stage, and it's an international stage as well, in the sense that the audience that it draws are international. Yeah. So I would want to see a lot of what we're doing in the writing camp space here in Tamaki Makaurau. I'd actually like to see that go back out onto our marae, where we make studios on our marae. We take our producers back to their marae, because if we can turn Airbnbs into studios, well, we can turn our wharenui into studios as well.
Big time. Well, I don't know if you follow Kings on socials, but
yes, he was part of Kokoi.
Exactly. And then he also went back to a marae and recorded, tried to, obviously join in a way where he was recording their original waiata, but in the way that was doing it justice and in a way that was sounding authentic and real to them, I guess. So that's already starting. It's already started. Yeah, but it's like I hear that it's more like it originating from us, and I guess the kino being right, or the kakano being right there, and it not being like a mould to Pākehā in a sense, like it being our own and creating our own, and then when there needs to be that crossover or that bridge, then that's available to tamariki or whoever it may be that's standing in those spaces, which is whakaro tino pai. I think that's such a great perspective to have, and it's already sort of happening.
It's already happening.
Just like that.
But I think drawing in our rangatahi, our babies, and having them, be mentored by the likes of Kings, by the likes of Jordan, by the likes of our Magics of the world. Magic's already doing a lot of stuff at Ngāti Whātua, so these kind of wānanga that we've already started, these chats are already happening, and so there's already kaupapa in the pipelines ready to go out there. So rangatahi mā, kia mau tonu mai. If you're keen to, jump on the tito waiata kaupapa, if you're keen to actually advance your reo as well, I think that goes hand in hand with working in this space. I think it's really important for us to be engaged in what's happening at on our local marae, but also keeping ourselves, relevant with our with our kiwaha and our whakatauki and all of the rest of it. Just going to the kura reo has been really instrumental in helping to maintain a good standard of language, because that's obviously once the reo goes, the kupu go into a waiata, you've eternalised that that waiata, that song will live on longer than you. So mena he hapa o roto kei te pai hoi anō.
Yes.
Yeah, mā te ako, mā te noho ki te ako, ka mōhio ka mātou ana. Kia whaia ko te ara o te tika. I just encourage our tamariki to get out there, get in those spaces, but also I think it's important that we as, we're on the, I would consider us pakeke now. Kua tō te rā ki taku mā tātahitanga hoi anō. So ko te wāhi ki au, and a huge responsibility, part of that reciprocal relationship with not only my reo but my people, is being able to open up those pathways to make it easier for our kids to have access to the tools that they need to in order for them to thrive. So in whatever field they want to thrive in, I think that is what really is the next step. Education, huge, hugely important. So that's what these wānanga spaces are. They are spaces, safe spaces of learning and creating. Yes. Yeah, of course, because the creation is the materialization of the learning. So, yeah.
Massive. I love it. I could honestly talk to you all day about all the different mahis that you do, but we will wrap it up there. Where can we follow you or see any more of these new projects that are coming up? So, we're all across our streaming platforms. Te Kōkōuri have, released the 3-part EPs. Yep.
And they will then be compiled into one album just to make it even more accessible. We've got lyric videos that are coming out on YouTube, so kia mau tonu mai, stay tuned for that. But yeah, apart from that, we've got all of our Disney, mo ngā whānau e whakatupu tamariki kōrero Māori ana. There's a whole range of, thanks to Mātanga Media, a whole range of kiriata Reo Māori on Disney+. And then we've got the Shrek Reo Māori. I believe that went out on TVNZ, so it should be there in the archive somewhere.
Yeah, it did actually.
But there's lots of resources out there for our tamariki, for our mokopuna, and for our whānau who are raising their children and wanting access to these resources.
Massive.
So yeah.
Yeah. Kia ora. Well, just in awe of your mahi and grateful to sit down and kōrero with you today and see kind of what's next. It makes me excited for like the future of Māori and Te Reo Māori, I guess, as well. So, ngā mihi and thank you for coming in.
Tēnā koe, tēnā tātou.